Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. I'm Moose, and today we have another knife review. And this one I'm super excited about, or I was. So this is the Kershaw Decoy. The Kershaw Decoy. So Kershaw Knives is always great about doing different and unique looking blades. They have tons of knives that they've made over the years. They have their standard kind of HOF knives that everybody loves that are just fantastic. They have some higher end ones like the Dash and the Camber and the Blur series. And then they have a really great selection of budget knives. Now, this one I loved the look of when I first saw it, but I'll go over some specs and we'll talk about kind of the letdown that this knife was for me because I really wanted to like it. So the overall length of this knife is 5.75 inches. The blade length is 2.5 inches. The handle length is 4.25 inches. The overall weight of the knife is 3 ounces. And yeah, so that being said, as far as those stats, this knife looks cool. I'm not going to lie. I just like the look of it. It has this continuing kind of flow over the back. It has a flat Warncliffe style blade where it's completely flat and it just tapers down, just drops down to the point. It has jimping on the underside and on the top, which is really awesome. It has those finger choils that lock each finger into place. The jimping's solid. It has this cool green back spacer. It's GFN or glass-filled nylon handles, which are tough, slightly textured, and then there's this bubbled rubberized insert for extra grip. The pocket clip looks comfy. It's just this big round soft pocket clip. Got this weird gap thing that when you slide it, there's a pincers or like a tweezers. Just another tool. If you get a sliver or something, you could use that to grab something. And then it has this cool star pivot, right? Well, all right, I'll talk about the knife and then I'll get into why it was such kind of a letdown. Like I said, the blade here, it's black coated. It has a Kershaw logo there, and it's made in China. It's a flat Warncliffe style blade. It's hollow grind. It's came wicked sharp. This knife design is perfect for putting your hand on there and getting cuts. It's very similar to the kind of Warncliffe shape of the Tough Light, the cold steel Tough Light, which I'm a huge fan of. I just like that design and shape. So, cool there. I really liked it. And the fact that there's jimping underneath and on top is a really good feature that you don't always see in knives. Yeah, so that's the blade. It has kind of a small swedge there as well. Then getting into the handle, it just looks awesome. You got this black pivot that has a satin finish star emblem there that just adds a pop of style. You have the handle is chamfered slightly there. And you have this cool textured rubberized insert for grip, and it just adds, another variation in style and texture to the knife, and it actually matches this poppin' green backspacer, which I love color on knives. I love it when it's kind of plain Jane the one way and then it just pops. So I really love that. So there's a lot to look forward to. It's a frame, a liner lock. The pivot styling is offered on the other side as well as the rubberized insert. And then the pocket clip just looks sweet, which I'm already getting redundant because I don't want to get to the bad. But that being said, it's time to get to the bad. So, overall, cool looking knife. Really was excited for it. ding on the blade steel. It's probably one of the weakest blade steels I've seen. Kershaw has offered this blade steel on some of their other knives, and it's not the worst thing ever. But now that we have blade steels like Sandvik steels and BD1 and VG10 that are showing up on some more budget-friendly knives, to have 3 CR13 blade steel is could be better. But then again, it's a budget knife. I got it for like $15 off Blade HQ, or maybe even a little bit more. Yeah, it's like $15, $16. So there's that. Now, getting into the knife, it worked fine. The biggest letdown is this liner lock. They painted the liners, which is fine, but I can get absolutely no grip. There's no cutout, no chamfer, there's no choil cutout in the one liner for me to even access. As you can see, it barely sticks out, and then because it's painted, it's rounded smooth. So I can't get a one-hand close with my thumb. Plus it's strong, so once you open the knife, it locks in there super tight. I could do it a couple times with my left, but I actually have to get my thumbnail in there, press down, and it's a two-handed closed knife. That is a huge ding, and it sucks because for a knife this small, or for this size, you want it to be a one-handed knife. If you didn't want it to be a one-handed knife, they should have made it a lockback. But that is a huge thing that they need to figure out, how to make that either protrude out more or make the edge sharp enough so that it can bite into your finger so you can disengage the lock. The other thing I really liked about this knife is this weird part here. It's just something different. There's no thumb studs. There's no thumb hole. You have this thing. It's almost like a friction folder. And, you can do it this way, which is really weird. But I kind of hold the knife perpendicular to my hand. And it's just easy to sweep my thumb over and down. And I really enjoyed that. It's such a cool design, and I'm super sad that the liner lock doesn't work. The other thing is this knife has this extra tool, which is a really cool idea, and I like multi-function knives like this where there's multi-tools. And it's cool that, you have a tweezers. I haven't seen a tweezers on a knife since, an old Swiss Army knife. That being said, the ding on this is that these two little flaps that you use to push the pincers out, protrude out. So, you need to have that, obviously, to deploy it. But when I put my clothes in through the pocket clip, as my clothes are going through, it hits that pin. And I'll use this piece of paper as an example. And it pushes this out. So as I'm putting it into my pocket, it's pushing this up and stabbing me in the hand at the same time. And that sucks because this thing is sharp. So, another ding. If they were going to do this, they need to either remove that one side, or if I were to carry this, I'd remove the pocket clip altogether and just have it sit in my pocket. But I don't even want to carry this because I can't close it one-handed. So there's a lot of neat things I really wanted to like about this knife, but because of the pocket clip issue with this pushing up and stabbing me in the hand every time I put it away, and the fact that the liner lock locks but you can't unlock it, it's a pain in the butt, just does not make it a very usable knife. I mean, yes, ultimately if I use two hands I could use this, but it's just not practical compared to some other knives that I own and use. That being said, holy cow, I talked a lot on this knife and I haven't even done anything yet. We'll quick compare it to some other knives just for those of you who might. And now, because I'm dinging this knife on those two things, doesn't mean that all of them are going to be defective in that way. For all I know, this is just the one I got where the liner lock doesn't work very well. So, it's $15. You don't have much to lose if it doesn't work. And I'm going to maybe take this apart later and try and fix that, see if I can do something to make this more usable. I might even just remove the tweezer altogether and use that as a large lanyard hole as well. But we're going to compare it to some of these knives real quick. As you can see, it's most comparable to the Kershaw Shuffle. Handles similar to the Cat. And I don't know what this is doing in there. Blade thickness wise, it's thinner than the Benchmade North Fork. It is thinner than the Shuffle, which this is a great multi-tool knife for the money. Definitely check this one out. And then the Cat, of course, it's thinner than the Cat. Now, I'm not gonna do the ugly brown glove test with this, because the deploying is actually really well. It works really good and it's super smooth. As you can see, it deploys excellent, regardless of what gloves. You don't have a flipper or anything. It's very easy to catch your thumb on there. You just have to hold it sideways. The rubber insert locks these clumsy gloves in well, so it's super grip there. So awesome. When I have it in hand, the jimping, like this works great for a gloved hand like this. The only bad thing is there's no way in hell I'm going to close it. So everything up to that was so good, and I would have said this is definitely like a 95% pass. But because only like 60% of it I can open and I can't even close it, I'm going to have to give it 50%. Like, it sucks because I can't even close it. And this knife was so interesting. I just love interesting knives. So, yeah, 50% on the glove test. Sorry. So there you have it, guys. This is the Kershaw Decoy. There's a lot of potential with this knife. Really cool. I liked a lot of the features and the looks. I still like the look. I still like the opening mechanism. I still like the grip and the, bright green backspacer. But because I can't close it, that's a safety hazard, and it makes it not usable. And then this is a neat idea, but every time I have to put it in my pocket, I get stabbed in the hand. I don't want to do that. So I don't know. You can make your own judgments off it. Take the chance. It's a cheap knife. It's only under $20, $15. For all I know, I only had, mine was the only one with this sort of issue. You might get a good one. But I had to put it out there for you guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this review was helpful and informative. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Click the eye in the upper right-hand corner for any other videos that I might attach to this. Stay tuned, and I'll see you outside. Thank you.